Welcome back to another video from ONL Lee. It's Ali Reza back at it with another vid to learn some cool new stuff. Everyone knows about Antarctica, right? This massive expanse is the last piece of land discovered by humans, a secluded place where the weather is unlike anywhere else in the world. Believe it or not, Antarctica is the biggest desert on Earth. Cause it's so dry, it's off the charts. You won't find drier air in any desert out there. This place has some gnarly winds blowing through and is known as the windiest spot across the globe. You might be wondering, how can a land full of ice be dry? Well, it's so freaking cold that almost no moisture can stick around. The cold just snaps up that moisture and turns it straight into ice that sprinkles down to the ground. The first humans to make a trip down there were back in 1820, but it was so bone-chillingly cold they noped out and headed back home. Tales of their adventure scared everyone else off, and nobody set a foot in Antarctica for like 75 years, until 1895 peeps finally stepped onto the land where no human had been before and, get this, no land mammals were spotted, eggs. Point 4, seals. Beyond the seals, you've got penguins chillin' down there, too. These days, with all our high-tech gear and science smarts, there's a bunch of humans down there doing research. But it's a short-term gig, no one's staying long-term cause you just can't live there for the long haul. Thousands of peeps are pushing the boundaries of science in Antarctica, but no country can call it theirs. Chile, Argentina, the UK, Norway, Australia, France, and New Zealand, they all claim a piece. And you're like, why the UK? Cause they've got the Falkland Islands nearby. None of these claims are taken seriously by the world, and none of these countries recognizes the others' claims either. Right now, Antarctica is like international waters, nobody's getting dibs on it. Any country can roll up without asking anyone else for permission. In '59, Argentina was like, this whole place is ours. But all the beef about who owns the icy land led world leaders and those 7 countries to sign this Antarctic treaty system. One rule is no country can claim land, and no army is allowed there, so no weapons either. Folks down there are only for their research, coming from all over the place. Any country can send their researchers, but it's got rules, not just anyone can head down cause the risk of kicking the bucket is high. There are no cities, roads, hospitals, or hotels. But if you're a pro and you've got the dough, you can get in. A well-equipped team's got your back, both medically and otherwise. Pay up for those costs, and you get the green light to land. Some peeps believe the Earth is flat as a pancake and Antarctica is like the ice wall around the edge. They say no one's allowed in cause of that. We just gotta tell 'em, cough up the cash, get your pass, and you'll see, it ain't the edge of the world. Astronomers fancy Antarctica cause it's got no light pollution, making it the prime spot for stargazing. What's the weather like in Antarctica? The coasts, where you find the penguins and seals, are milder. The warmest it's gotten in the center is -12 degrees Celsius, and the coast's hottest record is just under freezing. But those are the records, it's usually way colder. You might think it snows non-stop, but nope, it's so dry any snowfall barely touches 5 to 8 centimeters. The ice you see covering 98% of the continent. That stuff's ancient, like 30 million years old. Antarctica wasn't always cold, it used to hang out near India and Australia. Over time, things split up, the poles got frosty, and ice started forming, and it's still here. The ice is so solid that they carve out runways for monster planes to take off and land. To enter the land, you fly in. But all the gear and grub comes by boat. The closest airport with flights to Antarctica is in Christchurch, New Zealand. They fly about 5,000 folks a year down, if they've coughed up the cash, that is. The flight's about 5 hours. Loads of countries have set up bases, but the US has the biggest, right smack in the center. They've even built ice roads, but think ice slabs, not asphalt. They don't drive cars on these roads, instead, they drag supplies on sleds with beefed-up tractors. Get this, no plane is allowed to fly in at night cause the cold could jack up the engines, so they just don't risk it. What's that mean? For 7 months, it's nighttime, so flights stop. If you stay when the nighttime hits, you're staying for 7 months until planes can come back. The peeps who stay need to have their appendix yanked out, so they don't die if it acts up. There are doctors, but no surgery. During the 5 months of daylight, the place buzzes with action, and tourists can visit if they've paid their dues. But remember, only pros can stay for the full 7 months of darkness. No tourist gets to do that. They stick around to do tests and research that's gotta be done in winter. You might wonder, what's the use of this icy land? It's super important. The ice is about 2,160 meters thick on average. This ice is 90% of the planet's ice and 70% of its fresh water, so no digging or mining allowed. We'd pollute the precious fresh water. Fresh water's scarce, and future wars might even be fought over it. Most of this water is wrapped up in Antarctica and the Arctic. Unfortunately for Eastern countries, aside from Russia, they're not tapping into those fresh water sources. Make sure to follow us and share our vids. And if you want to see your video ideas come to life here at Only's, just leave us a comment.